Hello viewers, in this lecture of C Sharp, we are going to learn a very important topic which is object-oriented programming. So first of all, in object-oriented programming, we are going to learn topic constructor. So first of all, in this lecture, we are going to learn what is a constructor, what are types of constructor, why do we use constructor, and the practical. So first of all, we will learn what is a constructor. You can see here a constructor is a special method in C Sharp that is called automatically whenever we create a new instance of a class. It means a constructor will automatically be created when you will create an object of a class. In previous lecture of C Sharp, we learnt about how to create a class and an object of a class. So this means whenever we will create an object of a class, it will automatically create a constructor. So a constructor must have two purpose. First of all, it will immediately assign values to the variable. It will assign the default value. The default value is assigned to a variable when you have not assigned any value by your own. A constructor will initialize the default value. So first of all, what is a default value? For example, you have a variable integer id and another variable string name. So the default value for integer data type is 0 and default value for string data type is empty string. And second thing, a constructor must be the same name as class. For example, if you have a class of student, the name of constructor must be student. In second thing, what are types and uses of constructor? I have already told you about the two uses of constructor. So now what are types of constructor? You can see here constructor are of three types: default constructor, parameterized constructor, and overloaded constructor. First, we will learn about the default constructor. A default constructor is created when you create an instance which is known as object of a class. If you have not created a constructor by your own, C Sharp will automatically create one for you. Second constructor is parameterized constructor. A parameterized constructor is created by you. It means C Sharp will not create a parameterized constructor for you. It will only create a default constructor. A parameterized constructor is a constructor in which you have to pass two parameters, not only two, as many as you want. And third constructor is overloaded constructor. It means having two constructor but with different parameters. And next question come, can you have more than two constructor? I mean one constructor. Yes, you can have more than one constructor, but there is one exception. You must have different parameters or different parameter data types. For example, in first constructor there is two parameters, integer and integer, and in second constructor there is string and integer, and in third one string and string. It means you can create as many constructor as you want with different number of parameters. Now let's do a practical. So I have already created an application and I have told you how to create an application and which framework you have to choose. You have to choose console application. So first of all, we will create a class. Let's take it as class student, and we will make we will declare two variables, integer id and string name. Wait. Yes. Now if you have to create an object of the class student. Std is new student. And now you might be wondering why we have written these braces. This braces means you are calling a default constructor. It means you have not created any constructor here, but this thing allows you to create a default constructor automatically. So now you have to make this member public so you can use these members in your application. Now console.writeLine std.id, and now you want the same line one more time. Now what will you do? Control C and Control V. But what if I say you have a shortcut for this? Let's do Control plus Z and come back to this line again. And you can click anywhere in this line and press Control plus D. See, automatically it has done this work. Now let's change this as name and also console.readLine. Read line. And now if you execute this, you can see 0 and empty string. Let's bring it here. You can see ID which is 0 and name you can't see the name because string data type is empty string and you cannot see an empty string. Let's close this. So this was your default constructor. Now we will learn about parameterized constructor. So there is one more thing and a shortcut. You can create a constructor with a shortcut which is CTOR and press tab 2 times. Tab. You can see a constructor is already created by your compiler. Let's give some parameters. Get integer, get ID, and string get name. And now you can see an error here because there is no argument that corresponds the required parameter get ID. It means you have to pass the parameter here, and I told you this is a constructor and that's why it required get ID and get name. And now if you pass here, you can see error has gone, but for now just comment this code so no error will come, and comment from here. And now why do we want a constructor? And now we want a constructor to assign value to these variable. So let's suppose id is equal to get id. You can see we have used this constructor to assign value to this id, and same we can do this for get name. Get name and get name. You can see we have assigned these value, the value we will pass here to these variables. And now let's uncomment this code and we will pass id as 10 and name as Amit. And if you execute this, you can see 10 and Amit. But what if you want to get this in a good manner? So let's remove the console.writeLine from here and write here console.writeLine. The ID of student is bracket 0, comma, the name of student is curly braces 1. I told you about this bracket operator in previous lecture of C Sharp. If you haven't watched those lectures, you can go and watch. And now the first was ID and second was name. And now if you execute this, you can see the ID of student is 10 and the name of student is Amit. Now we will learn about the overridden constructor. Now let's delete this class in the object. We will create another class of employee. First is string name, control D, last name, and you will create a constructor and another constructor. You can see we have two constructor and we need two more variables, integer number 1, control D, number 2. You can see we have not assigned any value to these variables. In first integer number 1 and integer number 2, and here name 1, string name 1 and string name 2. And you want in first constructor to sum the number 1 and number 2, and in constructor 2 you want the full name plus last name. So first of all we will create an object of the class employee m is new employee. You can see the error here due to we have not passed any value. We can just comment the code. Now we want number 1 equals to number 1 and num2 equals to number 2, and here name equal to name 1 and name 2, wait, yes, and last name equals to name 2 equals to name 2. And in first one we want console.writeLine number 1 plus number 2. Let's uncomment this code. Let's take it as first number as 10 and second as 10. You can see the result is 15. Not only you can add this number, but you can multiply or even divide using slash and subtract using minus. If you subtract this, you can see the result 5 minus 5 because 10 was greater and it was end. And in second one you want the full name. The full name of the employee is plus another plus name plus last name. You can see the full name of employee is the end of string is here, and then name. We also want another empty string here to pass the gap, name space last name. And now you might be wondering, can we have more than one object of a class? Yes, you can have more than one object of a class. Employee 1 and employee 2. Let pass the string value Amit Sharma. And now if you run this code, you can see the full name of employee is Amit Sharma. And now the big question comes, how the compiler know that in this case we are using this one constructor and in this case we are using this constructor. You can see in this case we have passed two integer values, and you can see we have also passed two integer value here. So the compiler automatically understands that we are using this constructor. And in this case we have passed two string values, and again the compiler can understand we are using this constructor. So that's all for the constructor. In the next lecture of C Sharp, we will be learning about inheritance, polymorphism and methods. So make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.